Hello everyone, it's Ultimate Spy 53 here, and welcome to Reviewed, number 46. And today I'm going to be reviewing X-Men Origins Wolverine. So, for those of you who think that X-Men Origins Wolverine was a terrible movie, I will talk about the things that were good about that movie. So, this is a review. So, X-Men Origins Wolverine. I actually thought it was really good. I know it was considered one of the worst X-Men movies ever made, but there were some really good parts about it. It was a really cool movie. It was an original origin story because it's like one of those things where it's like, where did Wolverine come from? Because he's the one character we never really got a chance to think about. Because we'd seen him in 3 X-Men movies, and we just never seen like him at all. We really never saw him like at all. So this is the first time we actually see him's origin story. So basically, it's the fact that this is a time where he discovers he has claws, he's wooden claws when he's a kid, and then he goes with his brother who's actually I think it's a younger version of Sabretooth, because actually I think it's also Victor Creed. He's played by Live Schuber, his name is Leave or whatever. He plays, I think it's a younger version of Sabretooth, because the Sabretooth we know in X-Men from the original X-Men, the first movie, that one, I think is a different version of it, or not much older. The timeline is confusing. So, in terms of chronologically, X-Men Origins Wolverine actually takes place after the events of Apocalypse. I'm pretty sure. No, I don't really know the timeline very well. I mean, I think it goes First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, Origins, Deadpool, X-Men, X2, X3, and then Wolverine, and then whatever else. I think that's how it goes. So this movie, it takes place after Apocalypse, so it's because it's a prequel. It's a spin-off, also a prequel, because at the end of the movie we have a digitally a digital Patrick Stewart as Xavier, which is not the best thing to do. But honestly, it was a really good movie in terms of character dynamics. Had some really good casting. It's the usual, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I can't remember his last name, but it's Leave. I can't remember his last name, so correct me in the comments if you remember who he is. So, yeah, it was basically their brothers. Sabretooth and Wolverine are their brothers in this movie, and basically him becoming a Wolverine, like his origin. It's really cool. It's honestly, in my opinion, it was a really good movie. People who don't like it, I'm going to talk about why. So, I liked that it was an origin story. Like, it's the first origin story we've ever watched. At least I think so. I don't think there's another origin story in the Marvel universe that we've actually seen. Now, it felt much younger, and also we actually got some appearances from other characters. We had the first time Gambit. It was another actor, because the new actor Channing Tatum was supposed to play the character in his own solo movie, which I haven't really heard much about if it's gonna happen or not. But it was really, really interesting because it was like first appearance of Gambit, who's uses cards. He has like psychic powers, his cards. So, and I liked about the movie was the fact that Danny Houston, he plays I think it's a younger Stryker. So William Stryker is basically the guy who hates all mutants, wants them all to die or whatever. So he just hates them. So he basically, we have Stryker played by Danny Houston, who actually is going to be in the new Wonder Woman movie, which I'm actually looking forward to. So he recruits them to basically be on this task force, and also helps Wolverine. Actually, before all that, they were on task force. Included characters like, Wade Wilson, who is also known as Deadpool. So this is the big thing because people thought that Ryan Reynolds' acting was terrible. I actually thought was pretty cool was so we have Ryan Reynolds in the movie, a younger Wade Wilson. So Wade Wilson in the movie. You can also call him Deadpool because he's really badass. So he uses two swords. But also we have a character. I can't actually remember his power, but I know he was Dominic Monaghan, or Monaghan I think it's called. He was actually, you might know him from as playing Mariotic Mary Pippin. Or sorry, Mariotic Mary. What's his name? Brandybuck. So Mariotic Mary Brandybuck. So he played Mary in Lord of the Rings, which is a very good movie franchise. So if you and also make sure to check out my Lord of the Rings review, which is right here. That's really it's an amazing movie franchise. But he's in this movie, and he's one of those kind of stealth characters. But honestly, it was a really interesting movie. I think it's during one of the wars, so we have Wolverine kind of in the middle of the war, and then basically have the origin of his character. We finally get where his claws came from, because he originally had wooden claws. I think they were wooden, and they came out really gross. But he originally, so there's a scene where Wolverine is getting new claws. They're basically telling me they're gonna make him indestructible. They have to destroy him first. So Stryker is putting him into this glass water thing. It's causing him to they're basically enhancing him with his abilities, healing and annotating him claws, which are basically an improvement from the claws he wore early in the movie. And also, so we get that, and then we hear it was gonna erase his memory, because apparently that's a thing. And then he comes out, he's really angry, and then he wants to go on revenge. And actually, there's two characters. I actually looked at a video about this. There's actually two characters that are from the original Marvel comics, X-Men comics, and that's the elderly couple that takes care of Logan in the movie. Apparently, they're a version of these two superheroes. I don't remember what they are, but it's a really good movie, honestly, and it's really cool because we really. It's more of a prequel because we get a lot of the origins of characters like Wade Wilson. We get obvious origins of Wolverine, because you don't even know where he got his claws, and you finally get the understanding of where he got his claws. However, in the previous movies, we saw Stryker when we see Wolverine get his claws. That's actually I think it's a different actor, so it's the same idea, but it's a different actor. But honestly, it was really cool to see him becoming Wolverine. There was a really good part of the movie where he breaks a sink with his claws, because that's how powerful his claws are. So that was really funny to just oh crap, I broke the toilet, or I broke the sink. And also we get a love interest in the movie. I think because he becomes a husband to a girl. I think she's no. Rebecca Hall. I can't remember the actress who plays. I think it's Michelle Monaghan or something. I don't know. It actually might be true. I think it's Michelle Monaghan. But honestly, it was really fun to see Wolverine kind of his personality change, because as a younger Wolverine, because he can't age apparently. That is until the new Logan movie is coming out, third movie in the Wolverine trilogy. This is the first movie in the Wolverine trilogy, because it's about him. It's about Wolverine, about how he became who he is in the first movie, because it's this prequel. So we get basically we get a little thing, a bit of where I think his wife I think it's either his girlfriend or his wife. I don't know if they're married yet, but his significant other basically tells him the origin of who Wolverine is, what it means, and it tells him a tale, tale about the story about I think it's a creature or whatever, and they call him the Wolverine, and that's what he's oh, I understand, cool, I'll call myself that. So yeah, and later on we have a big battle between Sabretooth and Wolverine, which is epic by proportions, really epic. We also, like I said before, we get the first introduction of Gambit. who's played by Taylor. I'm gonna say Taylor because I don't know his last name. I remember I'm forgetting his last names, but he's played by Taylor someone. I don't know the last name. I can't remember the last name. But it's really cool introduction to Gambit because this is the first time we actually see Gambit on screen. And that was really cool to see him. Just all we get is him, playing, using cards like Flash, and it's like that's what he can do. He can use. Well, I think it's his psychic abilities, but he has telekinetic powers. But he in this movie he uses them to use cards. We also get the Blob, I think, and also I think we get we get this guy who can run really fast. I don't remember any of those names from the comics. I don't read the comics. I'm an idiot because, like, who reads comics? I mean, come on, waste your time, right? But honestly, it was cool to see one of the characters. He becomes so overweight and so fat and so unhealthy that he becomes this blob. He's basically a blob, and he's a character from the comics that he can punch people, or he's like a sumo wrestler basically. I think that's the idea. But honestly, it was really cool to see this movie happen, and then we see like I think the jacket the dealer couple gives Logan is actually his original jacket from the first movie, which is really cool. That was really an interesting little Easter egg. We also get the origin of where most famous members of the X-Men came from. This is part of the island. This is part of the island where of course he meets his significant other, presumed to be dead because earlier in the movie like she was dead or something. Well, apparently she's not. She faked her death apparently, and I guess they can't reunite her anymore, or they're back together again. I think that's the idea. And then they're on this island where a bunch of mutants, and they're actually characters that appear in the next movie. So we get a young Scott Summers, also known as Cyclops, who can use the power to shoot things through his eyes. We have a young, I think we have a young Emma Frost, who was from the X-Men First Class movie. And then we have, I think we have another character in there. I'm forgetting someone, but I'm sure there's more. I think there's other characters that appeared in the first movie. I think we get a young Storm actually. I think it's the white hair. I don't remember much, but I know that we get young Storm in the movie. So there's a lot of characters. That's the really cool part about the movie. It was the island. We get to see all these characters. We get to see the young versions of the characters from the original movie, which is really cool. Now the Scott Summers we see, that was where I was confused because as of X-Men Apocalypse we have a young Scott Summers, but also in this movie we have young Scott Summers. Who's like, where does it take place? Like, how can a young Scott Summers exist in Apocalypse and be like a teenager, and then have a young Scott Summers, also a teenager, be in this movie? So it's like two movies. One where it's shortly before the events of the first X-Men movie, and then we have Apocalypse with also a young Scott Summers. So it sets before the events of X-Men. It's weird, right? Like we have, I think Apocalypse comes before X-Men, so it's so weird, right? It's like the weirdest thing ever. Timelines are confusing, like Deadpool says, and it's really confusing because we have all these connections, and we have Days of Future Past messed it all up, so now we don't even know where everything takes place. But overall, it was a really good movie in terms of having an original Wolverine. We also get one of the things that made the movie just terrible, or at least people thought it was terrible. I didn't think it was that bad. We get a Deadpool. We get a Weapon 11, I think it's called. And it's basically this humanoid creature thing has his mouth sewed shut, and he has his eyes that are just terrifyingly gross. Apparently they're codenaming it Deadpool because it's like a dead pool. I don't know. It was the original version of Deadpool. Apparently, according to the story of the movie, that's apparently the way Wilson. So basically, they shut his mouth shut, and they surgery on his eyes or something to make him gross, and then they put one claw on each hand or something. Apparently, that's the thing that made everyone go crazy. Honestly, I don't think it was that bad. I don't know why people thought it was a bad movie. And I will admit the fight between Weapon 11, Deadpool, and Wolverine was a bit tense. Like you didn't like who knew that this quote Deadpool could teleport. But honestly, it was really interesting. It was really, I mean, I love a big fan of prequels. Only when they do it right. Like, I love the TV show prequels and the movie prequels when they show a movie and then like and then you have a character from the next movie show up in this movie. It's like, oh my god, the next movie is that movie. Oh my god. But for like this movie, we saw at the end of the movie we see, well, obviously we see Johnny Houston's striker go off into the distance walking very long. We get like a little like possible comeback from Deadpool, which is never actually gets answered. I don't know what Striker's gonna be up to next. But honestly, it was really interesting to see the end of the movie wrap up. So we see all these mutants come from the island that they're being imprisoned in, and then we have this is where it was like, what were they thinking? So they they've been doing a lot of digital stuff for movies with actors who just can't do it, or they're just, I don't know, the actor wasn't up to it or something, or either a dead actor or just an actor who didn't want to do it. So they put a digital Xavier in the movie. So it was Patrick Stewart's Xavier. However, it wasn't actually Patrick Stewart doing the thing because apparently in the timeline he doesn't have legs. His legs aren't available to him because he can't use them because an accident happened. Well, as in he's in first class, he got blasted. He got blasted, and his legs stopped working. So basically, they used a digital version of Patrick Stewart, but also Patrick Stewart lent his voice to the character. So I guess it was like a telepathic version of Xavier because in this version he has his leg, which doesn't make sense because he's like he can't use his legs. But apparently they digitalized his face and completely digitalized his entire body, and then just dubbed over it with Patrick Stewart's voice, who provided the voice of the character. That was what I was like, what? I mean, I didn't hate it, but I'm just like, what? Why? You don't need to do that. I don't understand. There's no point in doing that. That's the thing where I'm like, okay, well, it's great that you have this whole idea of having, prequel, supposed to be a prequel, and it's supposed to be like, oh my god, like these mutants are gonna go to the Professor Xavier's Academy for mutants, and you're like, oh well, we can't use Patrick Stewart's so you digitalized him and then put his voice into the background like a telepath. What the hell? That was why it just didn't make sense. I mean, it was a cool little setup for the next movie. Technically the next movie is Deadpool, but chronologically it's X-Men 1. But I just didn't. That was one thing I didn't like about the movie was that, I mean, I didn't hate it, but I just I think it was a little unnecessary to have a version of him. I think that would be really. It would have been better to just have a wheelchair bound Xavier, because that's what he is. He's wheelchair bound in the comics and also in the movie, and then just have Patrick Stewart reprise his role. I mean, yeah, Patrick Stewart did reprise his role, but he just didn't do it in he did it digitally, and he also used his voice. So basically, they hired Patrick Stewart to do just the voice of Patrick Stewart of his character, and then have them digitalize his face and then his body. It was so weird. So overall, what did I think of this movie? I honestly thought it was good. For those of you who didn't like it, I know the Deadpool thing was a bit crazy and it was kind of messed up. But hey, opinion, and I'm gonna do that movie. So a lot of the movies on this review show, I'm gonna be reviewing that quote sucked, but I like them a lot, and I have no problem with the reviewing because I have an opinion. So whatever I say, it's a based on opinion. So if you don't agree with me, I'm sorry, but that's an opinion. So overall, what would I give X-Men Origins Wolverine? I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. The con was the Xavier digital thing. That was just not cool. But overall, it was really cool. It was really cool to see Wolverine get his own origin story of where he came from, because he didn't even actually know that. And you get all these things about and of course the whole Sabretooth thing. Where does he come in? Is what's gonna happen? How does he go from having short hair and sideburns to having puffy hair, puffy beard and hair and weird eyes? I don't know. It's X-Men, it's a comic book. What do you expect? It's just this thing's gonna happen. I don't know. But it was really cool to see him. We see an origin story for Wolverine, because it was like where did Wolverine come from? I mean, all the characters they could have done other people like Storm or something, but they did Wolverine. I mean, honestly, it was a really good idea to do Wolverine. So yeah, that'll do it for this review. That's all I can say. Just not a fantastic movie, but definitely a good movie, a decent movie. Not the best I've seen, but honestly, in terms of X-Men, it was a really fun little movie for a little prequel, little fun prequel. So yeah, I honestly liked it. I didn't hate it, but I also, you know, it was more of like an so-so. Like it wasn't bad, but the whole Xavier digital thing, that was just a bit too much. It's like, okay, you could have done better than that. So yeah. Anyway, that'll do it for this review. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also make sure to click right here to catch last week's episode, and click here to watch the full playlist of reviewed. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you next week for Deadpool, because you've guessed it, I'm going to do a review of Deadpool next week. I've been kind of teasing it throughout this review, Deadpool with the next movie. So yeah, again, thank you so much for watching this episode, and I will see you next week for Deadpool. Alright, see ya.